Alright guys, we're gonna try this again here because I just started to record and I got into a game, and before I even got into the loading screen, the game froze, kicked me out. It ate one of my coconut screen pies and it ate one of my iridescents, so that was annoying. I'm not sure what just happened, and did I just search and it kicked me out? What's going on here? Okay, we're gonna continue. Okay, anyway guys, we're gonna try this again, take 2. So, we're working on the Demogorgon today. Can I go into the customizations so he doesn't scream? Okay. So, we're playing Demogorgon today, and I was talking about how they removed the Demogorgon and the 2 survivors, Steve and I forget the chick's name, I don't know if it's Meg, from the game because they lost the license for whatever reason. They brought it back, so they're all back now. And I was talking about how they removed Cenobite and from Hellraiser, and how if you're going to be getting any of these licensed characters, I highly recommend doing it now because you never know when the license is going to go away. Like I was saying, I was surprised how Freddy Krueger is in the game still because they still haven't added any skins for him, and you just never know because it's none of these licensed characters, hence why it's licensed, belong to Behavior. So you just, tomorrow we could lose all of them. Tomorrow we could lose Ghostface. You just don't know. And the good thing though is that once you buy it, they can't take it away from you. So that's why I highly recommend, if you're thinking about getting any of these licensed characters, do it now because you just don't know. And they're cheap. They're cheap too. The most expensive DLC I think was like $10 or something like that. Usually they're like $5, $6, $7, so they're really cheap. Most of them come with a killer, 2 survivors, and a new map. But anyway, talked about Demogorgon here. We're running a Gen slowdown with a little bit of aura build today. We've got Screw Trick Pain Resonance, which of course we've had it on the channel before. 4 random hooks at the beginning of the match turn white, and then each time you hook a survivor for the first time on that hook, it blows up a gen for 20% of its progress. Only can do it 4 times per game, but still pretty good, as they nerfed it. And then Corrupt Intervention blocks 3 generators from the furthest of your spawn location at the beginning of the game for 120 seconds. But if you down someone before the 120 seconds is up, it cancels out, so they nerfed that as well. Deadlock is going to block a generator once the survivors finish the generator, and it's going to block the one with the most progress on it for 25 seconds. It used to be 30. They nerfed that as well. So you kind of see a pattern here with Behavior. The developers for Dead Daylight kind of nerfing all the gen slowdown perks for a killer, and they haven't really nerfed anything for Survivor. So if you're ever on Reddit or Twitter, you might be seeing people that play killer recently complaining more than usual because in the next update that's coming out, which is 9.1, they are nerfing Clown, they are nerfing Knight. They just changed Pyramid Head. It was at first looking like a nerf, but because they changed his add-ons, and they did a really good job at that, it's actually a buff. And I believe there's another killer. Oh, Pig they actually buffed, so I'm surprised by that. But the thing that frustrates me, and it frustrates a lot of killer mains, is what they'll do to killers is they'll buff a certain side of that killer, like maybe their speed. They'll buff one of their abilities, but then they'll nerf another ability that the same killer has. So they won't just outright buff it, which is what I'm surprised they did that with the Pig. But with the Knight, they buff one side of it, but nerf the other side. So it. And with survivors, they don't really do that. So let's say, for example, recently they just buffed Body Knowledge, which is an insane heal perk that survivors can run, and they didn't nerf the medkits. It's like if they buff a toolkit perk or a perk that has to do with generators, but then they don't nerf toolkits. So, you can kind of see why killer mains are kind of feeling the game not being fair right now, because they're receiving buff nerfs while survivors are receiving nothing but buffs. And because of the Go Next implication being put in place, that survivors are now kind of forced to stay in the game. or they're kind of pushed to stay in the game so they don't receive that ban, which, you know, kind of makes generators go by fast. But we'll see what happens. I will say they did just go back what they said they were going to do, which was put Unbreakable, base kit Unbreakable into the Chaos Shuffle playlist. They were going to test it out and see how it worked, but they scrapped it because they didn't like the way it looked or whatever. So that is good. So that is the good side, but who knows what's going to happen. My prediction is they're going to add every anti-tunnel and anti-slug perk as base kit for survivors. I would not be surprised if that happens. You know, and the reason why behavior does it is because right now there are more killers than survivors in the game. I hate playing survivor. I find it very boring to just sit on a generator and doing nothing. Which is why you might be seeing, you know, more troll squads or more people just wanting to flashlight and send the killer the whole game, and they lose the game because they don't do any generators, but they don't care because they're having a good time, you know. So behavior is trying to do all they can to make more people want to play survivor, like boosting the blood point incentives and making killer worse to play. So I understand that because they don't want to end up in a situation where killers can't find games because there's no survivors playing the games. So I get that. Anyway, we're hopping on Gas Haven here, and I want to show you how to play Demogorgon on the map here. You kind of want to place portals around generators, but kind of do it inconspicuously so, you know, they can't find them and destroy them, because if they go up to one, they can start yanking on it and pulling at it, and you know, it'll just be destroyed, but you can put it back. So that's what it looks like when you shred. That was an easy dodge for him. I'm gonna go right here. Oh, and he actually saw me, so we're gonna leave this chase here because we don't want to be at shack for too long. One of the worst places you can be on the map as killer is the killer shack. A lot of wasted time there. Alright, we see a generator here. We want to place a portal, but we don't want to put it next to the gen where they can see it. We're going to put it right here. And we're going to go to our other one there. And hopefully with our add-on, yep, you can see that's the person's working on the generator. Right there in that corner. Or actually, it's right here. Excuse me. So she's running. I want to try to get a hit here with the shred, just to show you guys. But it's kind of hard when. Yeah, this is tough, man. This is tough here. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get a hit here, man. Yeah, it's a double vault. So we're gonna have to leave that. Yeah, this is tough. I think we're going up against a team before. So unfortunately, guys, I think this is gonna be one of those games where I just get slammed by the survivors. So I'm at least gonna show you how to play the killer, so you know what you're doing. So we're gonna give up some gens here, and unfortunately, it might be one of those games where we can't really do anything. But you can break doors with this power. And I think I'm going to put it right here. And basically the red add-on that I have on makes it to where I can... there we go. So that's a shred attack right there. It doesn't down them, it just injures them, but you can hit them from further away. And yeah, so the red add-on makes it to where when I go under the map in my portals, I can see where they are. So it's kind of like barbecue and chili, but there is no range limit like there is when you hook somebody. It is only from the hook for like 40 meters, I believe. Alright, so it looks like we're going to get our first hook here. And don't be upset if you are, you know, down 3 gens and you get your first hook. That's gonna happen, you know. Like I said, behavior doesn't care for killers at all. They're gonna make it as hard as they possibly can for killers on this game, and that's just how it is. So sometimes you just have to take it on the chin and just say, "Hey, I'm gonna lose this game. We'll just move on to the next one," you know. And it is what it is. And then my other add-on is Barb's glasses. If you have watched Stranger Things before, Barb is killed off in the Upside Down world early on in the show, and basically it just means that every time I use my shred attack to destroy a pallet, it will reduce cooldown for 10%. And then the red add-on, it has a secondary ability where after I go into my portal, if they're next to any of my portals, when I emerge, I'll be able to see them, I believe, within 16 meters of my portal. So you can see there on the right side, I was able to see a survivor there. So I'm going to try to go over there. Not the best map to showcase the Demogorgon's skills, because he can't really do anything. As you can see at the beginning of the game, how I was just getting kind of dominated there. You know, some killers are better than others when they're able to teleport in a chase, but Demogorgon unfortunately can't do that. So he's a low B tier killer. He's not the best in the game. I wouldn't say he's one of the worst killers in the game, but he's definitely a low B tier killer. Because in a chase that, you know, when it comes to pallets, he can, you know, easily destroy pallets very quickly. But when there's windows right here like that, there's just nothing that he can do, you know. Unfortunately, it is what it is. We were able to trick him there and get a free hit. But I mean, I think what they should do is increase the speed at which a killer can base kit vault, you know? Over a window, and that would make the game kind of balanced. And you can see that the killer instinct activates because I'm charging my power while he's next to one of my portals. So that's very good. But yeah, this is going to be one of the shorter videos just because there's just nothing you can do against a team of 4 in this game. Behavior has made it to where, you know, most, if not all, gen slowdown perks are nerfed to the ground while also not nerfing survivors to balance the game. So unfortunately, that's just how it is. You don't really have to worry about that green glyph there. That's just for one of my tome challenges. And I can go collect them all, so not all is lost. So I can do this. And I believe one more was over here. Where was it? I thought it was over here. But yeah, there's challenges in the tome where you can do stuff like that. And then basically, you know, the game's over. You know, there's nothing you can do. Just collect blood points, you know. So this was a team of 4, obviously easy to tell. You know, meta build. Bond is interesting. Bond is interesting, but yeah, it is what it is. You know, nothing you can really do. I mean, there's really nothing more to be said when you get into a game like that. You know, pretty bad map for Demogorgon. Maps that you want as him are you know, cold wind, more open maps. But any maps with a lot of windows, a lot of maps where survivors don't have to use pallets like that are gonna be really bad for Demogorgon. So you don't want to play on Autohaven. You don't want to play on Macmillan. Garden of Joy, kind of a hit or miss, but better than Autohaven or Macmillan. You don't want to play on the game. You don't want to play. I mean, even on Demogorgon's own map. I mean, there's a lot of pallets on the map. He could. I would say he's okay on the laboratory map, because there's you know, a million pallets, but only a few vault locations. And like I said, he shreds through pallets. No pun intended on his power. But I mean, as you can see there, you know, what can a basic killer do against survivors that abuse you know, windows? Because you can see how slow he is to, you know, vault over a window. So I mean, if I'm going to continue playing on this killer, I'm like, okay, I just went against that kind of crew. Maybe I'll take out Deadlock there on the left, and I'll put in Bamboozle to block the windows. But then even in that situation that I got into in the beginning of the game, it wouldn't really help because there were two vaults there. So I'll block that one, they'll use the other one. I'll block that one, they'll use the other one. So in that situation, there's nothing you can do. But let's say that I was in the main room, I could block the one window vault, and then they would be in trouble there. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough playing as killer right now. But I mean, as a new killer, you definitely have an advantage. So I don't want to deter you away from this game and be like, oh wow, well that just happened to him. Well, you know, he's got 2,000 hours of the game. Well, what chance do I have? My MMR is pretty high. I would say it's maxed right now. And I would say that because almost every game I play against a team like that, which is brutal. But it's just either I have to go through that, or you know, I just don't play. So those are my two options: either suffer or don't play. And unfortunately, that when your MMR is as high as mine, that's just, you know, that's as facts. It's clear as facts right there. But if you're new to the game, you've never played this game, your MMR is going to start out low. I promise you, you're going to have a good time. Survivors are not going to know what to do. They're not going to need to be nerfed because they're still learning the game just like you. But when you get into the high MMR, survivors just destroy killers, and it's not even close. Unless you're playing a nurse or some killer that can teleport and vaulting windows doesn't affect them whatsoever. But I at least hope that you now know kind of how to play Demogorgon. You want to put the portals down near generators, but far enough away in a corner to where it hides them and they won't really know that they're there. And then you want to kind of, you know, do what I did, charge up your shred attack before they use the pallet, and kind of do it, if you can, get a beeline, because even if they fake the pallet, they're still going to get hit because of how far he lunges when he uses his shred attack. And then also you can hold down the power like you saw there next to the main building to kind of get a location of where they are, because if they are you know, in present time destroying one of your portals, you can hold down the shred attack and you'll see their killer instinct, and maybe you can teleport there before they get done destroying it. But that's going to be the video today. Sorry it wasn't as flashy as the previous ones, but sometimes that's just how it goes, and you kind of have to take it on the chin. But it's not the matchmaking system isn't as good as it used to be when they actually had a ranking system. You know, because back when I only had like maybe 500 hours in the game, you know, I would say that the matches were, you know, balanced, because even in the games that I was losing, I was having a good time because, you know, it was a good game. Like, each game was a good game. It was close. It wasn't, you know, domination like this. And that's just how behavior does it now, and they cater to survivors. But like I said, you're not going to have that problem because you're new to the game. But I will see you guys in the next one, which we will be doing Oni.